Welcome back to Carneades.org. Today we're going to be continuing with our series, The Good, the Bad, and Philosophy. In this video we're going to be looking at the distinction between Deontic versus Aretaic ethical theories. Now, ethical theories can broadly be divided into two categories. Aretaic theories of ethics, which attempt to categorize and describe how you should live and define ethics in terms of virtue and vice. And Deontic theories of ethics, which attempt to categorize and define what you should do and define ethics in terms of right and wrong action. Of the three major theories, Consequentialism and Deontology are considered to be Deontic, as they assess right action or take right action to be the primary means of assessment of whether or not something's good or bad, while virtue ethics is considered to be Aretaic, as it assesses how to be a virtuous person or what particular virtuous actions are. It's interesting to note that while all of these theories talk about good and bad action as well as virtue and vice, what matters more here for this distinction is what they take as primary, what they take as the first thing that you should assess the other things based on. So Deontic theories work like this. So an ethical theory is Deontic if central to the theory is criteria for judging if an action is right or wrong. This can deal with the consequences of an action, whether an action follows particular rules, or really provide any other criterion for determining whether a particular action is good and bad, which doesn't just reduce the distinction to being in line with traits like virtue or vice. If whatever our determinant of is an action good or bad simply reduces it in terms of characteristics of a person instead, like virtue and vice, then it's actually an Aretaic theory of ethics. But if the central thing, the irreducible piece, is an action good or bad, it's going to be Deontic. The fundamental element of these theories is the actions, and other questions, such as whether a person is a good person or whether something is virtuous, is defined in terms of those actions and whether or not those actions are good or bad. Aretaic theories, on the other hand, give you a criterion for judging whether a person is virtuous or not, or if a particular trait is a virtue or not. These theories take whether a characteristic is a virtue as the fundamental question and define the other elements of ethics, such as whether a particular action is good or bad, in terms of whether or not it is the kind of thing that a virtuous person would do, or the kind of thing that aligns to a particular virtue. Once again, both of these theories deal with both virtue and assessing good and bad action. It matters more what they take as primary. Aretaic theories focus on the virtues, whereas Deontic theories focus on the actions. So, an example might be a Aretaic theory might take a virtue, say charity, and they have a way of determining that charity is a virtue. Then they would say that someone is a good person because they are charitable, or because they're charitable as well as other virtues. And then because of those things, they would say it is good to donate because it aligns with the virtue of charity, or donating is the kind of thing that a charitable person, or that a virtuous person would do. Deontic theories, on the other hand, are going to take first the claim about the action. They're going to assess that using their tools. It is good to donate to charity. And then based on that, they'll say someone is a good person because they do actions which are good, such as donating to charity. And charity is a virtue because being charitable usually results in good actions. That's not necessarily good consequences or actions which follow the rules, and that's kind of the big divide in Deontic theories, which we will look at very soon. So, that was Deontic versus Aretaic ethics. Next, we're going to take a look at the three major theories of ethics. We'll start with Deontology and several theories under that. Then we'll go into Consequentialism and several theories under that. And then we will cover the major Aretaic ethical theory, virtue ethics, as well as some different theories there. Watch this video and more here at Carneades.org, and stay skeptical, everybody.